All right, we are live for the Friday edition of the Mike and Mario show, and excited to be back. It's been too long, but here we are nevertheless. But Mario, how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, Mike. And you? Some people have thought, "Oh, what's happened to you guys?" And nothing, just didn't conflicting schedules.
Yeah, same here, man. So I was reading through the comments. People like, where's the Mike and Mario? I'm like, it's coming, man. It's predominantly my fault, so I apologize for those that were wondering what happened. But we're trying to get back on track. Definitely heading to the summer. Lots of interesting and entertaining things yet, to say the least. But I just want to jump right into it, Mario. We had a whole list of things that we were going to touch on for sure. But one thing I want to make sure I bring up is that I'm going to show you this chart real quick, and just we'll just talk our way through it, but it has a lot to do with current events that are unfolding in real time. So as I bring this up here, as you can see here, something I'm not sure I'm not sure the full details of it, but at around 11:17, something happened out here in the monetary atmosphere, which led gold and silver, of course, to take a little bit of a spike. And I think it has something to do with this information that was given, saying that Fed Powell policy rate may not have to rise as far as otherwise due to tighten bank credit conditions. And so, is that an admission of defeat, or is he hinting at the fact that they have to begin to admit that things are not as hunky dory as they would like for the world to believe, to where they may not necessarily be hiking as much as they intend on, or what? What are you thinking?
Well, I think he's giving a speech somewhere, and at the same time, he said that the U.S. banking system is safe and sound. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, now it seems to me this is a pivot. He's
Yeah.
saying the banks are that he can't ignore that. Um, the banks and we saw in March that he undid most of the QT back in March. Yes, of course, the balance sheet has shrunk since then. So yeah, it's almost like an admission that things are not well. And I think if things get worse with the banks, um, we could see him get even more dovish. And what's interesting is you would expect the stock market to rally on the
Mm-hmm.
back of that they won't raise rates more, but it's actually down here. The Dow is down 120, which isn't that much in the scheme of things, but uh, I think the market is also saying to itself, wait a second, things are not as well if Powell's saying that.
Right. And then to make it to go even deeper into it, here's some information that I saw someone post, and it happens to be around the probabilities for a June 14th a Fed meeting. The actual chance of them actually hiking was, prior to this statement, was about 80% or so, and as of right now, it's about a 19 or so percent, give or take. And so just within that short time frame, there's been some changes, some people reconsidering some things. And so we'll see. But once again, the damage has already been done, just because everything is always a lagging indicator. So we haven't really begun to see the repercussions from the previous hikes before. So the credit market, I haven't followed it too much. That's beyond my wheelhouse. But I'd imagine, due to the continuous bank concerns, there's not as many banks willing to lend willy-nilly like they have in prior years. And so that right there is causing his issues. And of course, we got the commercial real estate and yada, yada, yada. So
with rising inflation, bank failures, and massive layoffs across multiple sectors, the future of the economy remains uncertain. It's no wonder the central banks have been getting prepared by stockpiling gold. At ITM Trading, we have spent over 27 years building a team of seasoned researchers and analysts who can help you prepare for any financial crisis. Our experts are ready to provide you with proven strategies to safeguard your wealth and assets in the event of an economic downturn or currency reset, which is frankly inevitable. Don't wait until it's too late. Schedule your free gold and silver strategy call by clicking on the link in the description below.
Yeah, I think a lot of the banks, and savers as well, moving their money away from the smaller regional banks. They're putting into money market funds, and Yeah, so it's interesting. And we also just saw a tweet from CNBC
Mhm.
to do with the debt ceiling negotiations that the Republicans have walked out of the White House because they couldn't come to some kind of, I forgot exactly what they said. Let's see here. Republicans walk out of debt ceiling talks, say White House isn't being reasonable. So
Mhm.
you've got that little problem as well. We saw that the Fed's not the Fed's but the Treasury's account is shrinking. I think it's down to almost like $50 billion. And I think a few days ago or a week ago they had to give the FDIC 40 billion. Why did they give 40 billion to the FDIC? Well, because the FDIC is trying to bail out banks. So this is
Yeah.
all getting really interesting.
It's starting to the nervousness and just I say more so the calm before the main storm is underway. And I was using the other day during one of my rants, calling it the perfect storm, where we have the debt ceiling issue, which I've been saying for several months, weeks now, is that something different is something different about this one. When you have the Jamie Dimon, the bankers, even Wall Street talking about people need to diversify just in case there's a debt issue. Then you got the banking situation, which they're trying to push it under the rug as best they can, but it's hard because, as Powell's admitting, the credit market is also impacted by that as well. And then we have the commercial bank, not the commercial bank, but our border crisis here as well at the same time. So it's a lot of things unfolding, which none of it ends well. Like none of this can end well. There's no solution to any of this really without there being pain. So pain is inevitable, but here we are.
And I see that the G7 there in Hiroshima,
Yeah.
a city that the Americans nuked back in 1945.
Yeah.
And they're talking about helping, the Ukraine even more. Even the UK, which is running that.
So the
So
fact that Biden tells G7 allies for the U.S. will support joint F-16 training efforts in Ukraine. So I'm
yeah,
thinking, like, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Putin say that if they send certain types of military weaponry, then that's like that line? So we'll find
yeah.
out what his line is. But
Well, I was reading as well that the Ukrainians, they want actually more F-16s. Biden is talking about training, pilots, I guess, for F-16s. So will that be enough? I don't know. It seems to me that that's a whole another, another thing that's
yeah,
happening. And it could be a distraction away from the fact as well that I think Republican representative, is it Marjorie Green? She
yeah,
issued articles of impeachment yesterday for
yeah. That
the
one.
Biden administration. I would have thought that would be all in the news, but not much coverage of that.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't play into that. Just like we had the Hunter Biden situation with the Biden family a week ago,
Mm.
whatever. Families getting money from all type of foreign entities, but it got swept under the rug. Twitter files came out, got swept under the rug, and so that even that video clip you sent me of the gentleman testifying before the committee talking about the FBI and how like everybody knows that you just certain things you don't do. And he's like the government to come after you, the FBI come after you. So I'm thinking like, wow, like if a guy can testify saying that even he's scared of his own government because they'll come after him. I'm like, well, who's supposed to, like police them? And so who oversees them that we can trust?
Who guards the guards? Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And so it just basically shows that all the government agencies right now are really, really trying to cramp down on social media. And of course, they're leveraging that whole chat GPT. They're about to start collaborating with all types of stuff with that. So it's about to get very interesting out here, man. But on top of that, while the Western Hemisphere is going through their issues, we got the Middle East with the Arab leagues is uniting right now. And that right there to me says a lot, just because we have been, they've always used proxy wars and division in that area to make them countries go against each other. But now they've decided to kick out Western influence and unite. And with Assad now in Saudi is like, okay, what are they talking about? What type of deals, what type of negotiations are they working towards will be the big question. So Let me get some
Yeah.
articles up here, but go
Yeah,
ahead.
I
What are your
see
thoughts on that?
I don't even know if they want to throw out Western influence. Maybe they do, but they also want to be friends with each other, because if you're bickering with each other, it's much easier for the West to control them. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's very interesting that Assad now he's gone to the Arab League meeting, I think, Arab
Yeah.
Summit, for the first
Here's your
time in
tweet
12
here.
years. And yeah, I retweeted that the neocons bite the dust again. And the neocons are the same people that have gone into that have fomented this war in Ukraine, because they fomented the coup in 2014 in the Ukraine, and that's what it's a culmination of that policy. But in Syria, Assad asked Russia for help, and the Russians helped. And if it hadn't been for Russia, Assad wouldn't be at this Arab summit.
Yeah, it's sad to say Assad would have had the fate of his other Middle Eastern counterparts and
Yeah,
Gaddafi and
Gaddafi
Saddam
or
Hussein.
yeah,
So he would have had a very short lifespan overall. But yet again, I think the continuous merger of the Southern Bloc, Southern Bloc, as they call it, with the BRICS, Russia, and all stuff like that, something's brewing and clock is ticking, and it's getting louder now. And so just to show you, like a lot of things I've been paying attention to, when you get articles like this. So here's just a headline. It's minor in nature, but then again, it's just one nail after the next. And so it says Iraq bans U.S. dollar use to boast dinar. So nobody really wants the dinar, but then again, they want to get back to using their own currency just for bilateral as well as their own interests for their own people. But it's just the fact that now, because of more like a dollar shortage, that's one of the big issues. But it so happens to play right along the fact that most people want to get rid of dollars. So this right here definitely is picking up more and more. So it doesn't surprise me at all.
No, not at all.
And then, let me get another one here. So here's another little, like a week old, but it's starting to get louder here in the Western Hemisphere. The AGEAN, if I'm saying that correctly, to increase local currency trades, reducing reliance on the U.S. dollar. So 10 nations are already decided to, hey, let's dial back on using dollars and just use our own currency. So
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of people that are in denial. I think the dollar will nothing will happen to it, but I disagree. I think more, well, especially if this debt ceiling situation doesn't resolve itself. I think there's still a lot of complacency, but like you said, this time it could be different, and it's going to hurt. Because a lot of these countries have been trying to move away from the dollar, because the U.S. has been using the currency as a weapon. But now they could also move away, because you can't really trust the people running the currency that they will pay you back. So that's the other thing.
Yeah, very true. And then here's just another little headline I came across from earlier in the week. And usually the headlines speak for themselves. Of course, there's a lot of fluff piece in there, but because all these headlines are popping up more and more and more, it's hard for people to ignore them. Now, whether or not something comes from it immediately, who knows? But we know they're working towards something. But this is from foreignpolicy.com. It says a BRICS currency could shake the dollar's dominance. Now, how that plays out, who knows exactly?
Yeah.
It won't be a smooth transition no matter what. So
I personally think the BRICS countries don't want their own single currency. I think they just want to trade in their own currencies, but there'll have to be something underpinning that, and that's why they're buying so much gold. Record gold buying last year, and this year they're still buying quite a bit of gold. Even Singapore, they've increased their gold reserves by 45%. I think up until April this year, and China is kept buying too.
Now, so this is a side note. It's the more thoughts come to my mind, and we can keep moving. I got lots of articles, but I didn't hear much about the king's coronation. It didn't really get much airplay here. They talked about it for one day, and it got swept under the rug. But I did see something about the typical format is that he asked, I guess, the world or the citizens of UK to pledge allegiance to the king. But then again, they said it was confrontational, so they tweaked some words in the typical statements. So what was the response from what you saw in your neck in your country?
Well, to be honest, I didn't follow it.
So
I
you
mean,
didn't pledge allegiance?
no, I didn't know.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot like that.
Oh, I mean, I'm not really a British subject.
Yeah.
I don't have I'm Brazilian and Italian, and I came here with in '92 when the country was still part of the EU, so I had an Italian passport, and I've never and I think even British people, a lot of them didn't pledge allegiance. I mean, if he was a good guy, maybe I would. If he was a real sovereign looking after, because we're supposed to be sovereigns. If he was like a top sovereign looking after the sovereigns, but he's not. He's nowhere close to being that. He's just a figurehead, really, and he's not really. Yeah, I don't think he has that much power. You know, he's been controlled as well by other people.
Yeah, here's a little article. Coronation Pledge of Allegiance will be changed at King Charles' request. And so, like, beyond just being a figurehead, is like the Commonwealth itself, which has all the wealth that the monarchy has accumulated for centuries, i.e., predominantly stolen. But they still have large amounts of territory that I guess is a part of that Commonwealth package. So they're getting. He got his face on currencies and coins, and so it's like that. It still signals a lot, but. Yeah, I got mixed feelings towards that because I'm not pledging allegiance to no single man. But anyway, I just thought I would get your thoughts on that because we haven't talked since then. So,
not even to Biden.
Oh no, I think about this often. If I was to get invited or come across him or see him, and I would have to control myself because I naturally would have some very harsh words because I'm not a fan of his, or even if it was Trump or Obama. Like because my mind and my thought process and my research leads me to believe that they're all bought and paid for puppets anyway. So I would want to ask some questions I'm sure would get me in trouble. So I would just keep my mouth closed. But I just definitely wouldn't want to shake that man's hand, but that's just me. So anyway.
Or you go like that and then you go like this, you pretend you're going to shake his hand and go.
Yeah, and I ain't got no hair. Oh man, let's keep moving. What else we got here? So, so let's talk a little bit. I want to get back to talk about metals, man. And so I've talked about an article the other day where a Gallup poll came out, basically listing the top 5 or 6 asset classes that people at this current moment are deciding to shift into. And real estate was always up there at the top, but then again, it's taken a little bit of a beating as of late. But gold has kind of filled in that gap. And I'm like, people are now literally coming to the realization as to they don't even know what real money is, but they're just thinking about flight to safety. So they're looking at gold because it's been one traditionally. And so imagine when people find out what money is, if they're able to.
Well, yeah, it will be too late. I mean, I read this article and that you're showing there, and there's still people still hate gold and poo-poo it and stuff. So, and we are near all-time highs. And it reminds me, I think it was Gandhi who said, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. I think that's Gold's story. And I've got here this editorial from 2004 that I cut off from the FT, really denigrating gold. Going gold, and it says the pointlessness of holding bullion continues to sink in. So you see, the FT is coming around. They ignored gold, then they ridiculed gold. Now, I think they've been fighting gold, and now they're kind of gold is winning.
It's winning, and it's still in the early phases because the average person doesn't know what's going on.
Like I said, the sentiment is still really, it's not euphoria or anything, but I'm afraid it's going to be in a period of fear and panic and war and stuff. It's not going to be because of greed. It's going to be fear. That's the biggest bull market you're going to have in commodities. When there's fear, that's when they really spike.
And then at that moment, the average person is going to look at that USD price, like 2,500, 2,600. And I was talking to Leo against the other day, and he was talking about if this debt default situation isn't ironed out, and it gets to the point where they end up defaulting on the debts they owe beyond the internal stuff here. Then he is talking about seeing gold prices 100 by the day, like 100 here, 100 here, 100 here. But a worst case scenario probability is like 1%, 2% chance. But I'm like, that's still enough to that to consider, because if it was to show action like that, price action like that, the average person wouldn't be able to go buy any. So where are they going to go? They're going to go to silver. And so we see silver literally shoot.
Yeah. And I think the dealers are probably not going to, it's going to be tough to get things, because if the prices are moving around like $5 a day in silver and 100 or 200 in gold, if you're a dealer, it's really difficult to hedge your exposure. So they're just going to shut shop, and you won't be able to get anything.
Man, is that in our future? Is that a part of our future? We will find out.
Yeah,
but yeah. Let's keep moving. What else we got here? So here's another topic. So I'm everywhere today, so I just want to get them all out here, make sure we cover everything. But what are your thoughts of this story here? He's Robert Kennedy Jr. is starting to get a lot of attention. He's going on a lot of podcasts, basically announcing his presidency, and he's speaking truth in reference to the health situation, and even going into his family history, saying that the agencies were a part of the demise of his family members. And so it's hard to read this. Is he sincere, or is he controlled opposition disguised as that second white knight on a horse coming in to save the state type of person? And he's also the first presidential candidate that supports Bitcoin. So can he run on that Bitcoin ticket, and people actually say, hey, okay, we'll never audit the Fed, we'll never audit the Fort Knox, so we're never going to talk about gold and silver, but Bitcoin, we can just make Bitcoin legal tender.
Yeah.
What do you think?
The problem, I would be much happier if he had said we're going to abolish the Federal Reserve and we're going to abolish legal tender laws, because that's if you want to see competition in the market for money and credit, that's what you need to do. Because prior to the Civil War, there were no legal tender laws. People were using gold and silver coins from all over the world in the U.S., even though you had your own gold and silver coins. And that's how it should be. I haven't listened to, I don't know where he was speaking about that, but it's a step in the right direction, I guess. But like you said, is he distracting? Is it another distraction away from what we really need, is like a free market, going back to the Constitution, which says gold and silver, should be, minted as money.
Yeah.
The Constitution never said anything about legal tender laws.
Good point there. And also, I think as far as Robert Kennedy, he has the family name. That's the first thing going for him. And then his journey and his willingness to speak quasi truth. He still has to bite his tongue on certain issues. He can't touch certain topics. So I know he would never touch anything to do with the Federal Reserve, abolishing them, or even considering the legal tender. So he knows his limitations, I think, especially at this early phase of his presidential run, because if he got too radical, he may not see
I
presidential race.
You look at the presidents who went against the Federal Reserve and the bankers, they didn't end up very well.
Right. So everybody has their limits. You know how far you can go. Like, it's unfortunate that even as alternative commentators of what's happening in the financial realm, in reference to the monetary space, I even know my limits of what I can and can't say, due to the fact that this particular platform, I don't own it. So it's just a vehicle to try to reach as many people as possible, to wake them up about the importance of gold and silver. But then again, we all know there's certain things you can't talk about, because the overlords, the YouTube overlords, would not be too happy with this. So it's unfortunate, but that's kind of where we stand at this current moment. What else? We got some more topics here. Let me keep scrolling. What else we got here? Let me know if you want to get to some questions as well.
Yeah, we're seeing someone said here that I assume it's RFK Jr., Cynthia Dom. He's against the Second Amendment. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't really followed too much on that. So
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's let me see. Let's open up then. Let's get to some questions. It's been a minute. All right, so if you guys have thoughts, ideas, suggestions, any other subjects that we haven't touched on yet, feel free to throw them in the chat, and we'll share our 2 cents on them. Or if there's any subjects we haven't touched, to bring it to the forefront. Let's talk about it. Let me know if you see something out there.
Yeah, Faith Parent saying RFK Jr. won't make it. Okay, not sure if she means he won't win or if he won't make it in another way.
Yeah, it could go either way. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate when
UK Financial Preparedness has a question.
Are you aware that they are considering giving preferential mortgage rates in the UK if you do not get heat pump system? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I sent you that article, didn't I?
Yeah. Let me pull it up real quick. I didn't have a chance to read it, but what was?
Well, this is government. This is government interfering in the marketplace, trying to push this net zero agenda, and yeah, they want people to replace their boilers with heat pumps. They call them, but heat pumps are really expensive, so they're trying to entice people who are going to buy a property and need a mortgage with a discount if they, do the right thing.
Right.
And I think it's just more waste of taxpayer money because in a free market, if private companies and individuals thought it was good to have this heat pump, it would happen. But the fact that the government has to do it is not a good sign.
Well, here in the state of New York, they are or have attempted to pass some type of, you can't have a natural gas stove. And so they came out with that, and I think there's a lot of pushback. So I think they've dialed back off that narrative, but they're trying to do the similar situations here with telling us what we can and can't do with our own house. So,
Jeff Yu has a question for me if you want to pop it up. Yeah, he's asking whether I'm allowed to come to the U.S. now. I guess I could go via Mexico and then enter as an illegal, but I can't. Over the Rio Grande, but no, I can't actually, because on May 11th they terminated all the COVID stuff in the U.S. But for foreigners, if you don't have a vaccine. If you don't have a vaccine certification from August
of last year,
August 2022, you can't come. So if you haven't been vaccinated after August 2022, you can't go to the U.S. So I can't go to the U.S.
So so I didn't know all that, but just hearing you say that, I'm thinking like August last year. That's about what, 8, 9, 10 months ago. Yeah. So if you are still breathing air and not having any cardiac issues, and you're probably well better off than the people who took that, you should be a good candidate. But so like that stipulation there, if you don't have the paperwork,
I guess it helps Pfizer.
Yeah. Oh man, they're doing test trials right now. They ask for 50 people to volunteer in North Carolina for the influenza mRNA test run. I'm thinking like, I'm not sure who in their right mind to sign up to be, but then again, it's a lot of things that surprise me at this point.
Yeah. Rolf Steiner is talking about George Carlin, the American Dream. I think he said it was a nightmare. No, George Carlin.
Oh my goodness! I wonder what type of comedy would he have now if he was still alive. Boy, it'll be something else. Says, please explain the real estate property tax and the illusion of private property ownership. Mario, you want to touch on this?
Well, here in the UK, we don't have a real estate property tax. We have a council tax, which is basically the tax that you pay to the local council for, and it is based on the value of your property, but it's not really a real estate tax like in the US. And in the US, there are states where you don't have real estate tax.
There is. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think there are states where you don't have real estate tax. But yeah, any kind of taxation, I think, is theft, really. So there you go. That's how I see it, especially real estate. Here in the UK, on your primary residency, if you sell your house and you make a capital gain, there is no capital gains tax. I think in the US, though, you do have capital gains tax if you sell your house and you make a profit. So at least we don't have that here. But our inheritance tax is the threshold is very low. So if you were to die and leave a £1 million house, your heirs would have to, they would have £315,000 tax free, and everything above that, like 680,000, they'd pay 40% tax on that. So yeah.
Interesting. So I looked up, and so I'm of the mindset that, especially out here in Michigan, like, you really technically, you don't really own your home, just because even if it's paid for, i.e. mortgage wise, if you're debt free that way, because of property taxes, if you don't pay that, they come in like that to take your property. So that little charade there is what has kept people from actually being able to own property tax. I'm of the mindset that as things get worse, and as the meltdown occurs, it's going to interfere with states, and then the municipalities. They're going to become cash strapped. They're going to attempt to raise property taxes to try to recoup some of those losses. Because even here in Michigan, a lot of counties have pension issues already, like up to their eyes and balls in debt. And so they're going to try to recoup some of those funds through property taxes. And if your average person either is not working or don't have the funds, then what? So, hopefully, if people stop paying it, then they try to move away from it. But I wouldn't hold my tongue on that one. So, what else we got here? He says, how much did King Charles pay?
For what?
I don't think he pays any taxes whatsoever.
Oh, no, he doesn't pay taxes, no. And he, of course, he didn't have to pay inheritance tax on what he got from the Queen.
Man, that right there,
he's above the law.
Right, literally. And that's just to think that there's a family. So like if any of his kids got in trouble, their affairs will be held outside of the judicial system, huh?
I don't know how bad it is. You look at Prince Andrew. He got away with that's Epstein stuff.
Unfortunate things.
Yeah.
What else we got here? Let me see. Let's go. Hit them thumbs up. Yeah, if you haven't, definitely hit the thumbs up button. Show support for the channel. What else? Anything else on here? Michael Addo says in the UK we pay $2,000 a year just to have the free. What does it say? Free
wheelie bins. Yeah, it's the trash can, the big bins trash cans outside. Your garbage collection. That's what he did. Yeah.
Free wheelie.
Yeah, I mean that's how much I pay. Yeah, just a little more than that. I pay about $2,400 a year council tax. Yeah. But some of that goes to the unfortunately to the mayor of London, not the mayor of not the Lord Mayor of the City of London, but the mayor of Greater London, who's a guy called Sadiq Khan, and who's going to tax anyone who drives a diesel car over a certain age, £12.50 a day from August. It's crazy, and then we have to pay him tax as well.
Are there those 15-minute cities? Are they running those experiments in or around your area?
No, not where I am. No, but I think there are some like in Canterbury, Oxford. They're trying these 15-minute cities. Well, I heard. Have you heard of Christine Anderson? She's a member of the European Parliament. She's a German. Yeah. She's quite clued up, and she calls them 15-minute ghettos. Really, that's what it is.
I saw that. Okay, what else we got? The Queen's funeral costs. The Queen's funeral cost £300 million. Was that paid for by the British people? Yeah. 300 million pounds.
And I think his coronation was 250 million. So that's like £500 million there.
For a family.
Why? Or they could have done the funeral and the coronation all in one, 2 for 1. She dies, she gets buried, you get your crown, and that's it. you know. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, but then again, like they're not thinking about
Why wait, another 6 months to do a coronation? Just do it
right.
right there.
They want to give the queen her last little let her shine on her way
Yeah,
out, whatever.
well, give her half an hour, and then he comes in and puts the crown on.
Yeah, like to sit on, I guess.
Wego, Wego Forever saying
Mhm,
something about Kennedy that I'd like to. I'm not saying I'm pro Kennedy, but
mhm,
he's actually not pro climate change. He's an environmental lawyer. He has been for decades.
mhm,
And I think what he is against is pollution by industry.
mhm,
And but he actually said that the globalists they're trying to use the environment for their own advantage. That's what he says. So I'm not too sure whether he's behind the climate change religion. I don't think he is, even though he's into the environment, which isn't a bad thing. Polluting rivers and stuff
yeah.
is not a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of that agenda, let me so in the Netherlands, boy, they're still at it. Let me bring this up real quick. It says 2 cows per field. So literally, they went from not having none to just saying, "Hey, well, you can have 2." And people, of course, are pushing back. I don't see many video footages of the farmers, in the streets and spraying poop over buildings anymore. But the World Economic Forum is really pressing in
Yeah,
on the
and
agriculture sector.
the prime minister there, Mark Rutte, I think a year or two ago, there's a young MP in the Netherlands, and he really got him there because Mark Rutte sent a letter to Klaus Schwab thanking him for sending him the Great Reset book.
Uh-huh.
And then Mark Rutte said, "Oh, I don't know about that." And then the MP said, "But you did say it." So he basically lied, saying I don't know anything about the Great Reset and Klaus Schwab, but he's implementing all the policies that were in that book, in the Netherlands.
Yeah, and you don't know nothing about it. Yeah, sure. And speaking of which, we got some issues here on the home front as well. Let me see if I can find the article. Let me see. But it was an article about John Kerry putting pressure on our farmers here. Here we go here.
Is that John Coffinhead, Kerry?
Yeah, this guy's, they just recycle the same people, man, from the same boys club. But John Kerry targets agriculture as part of the climate. And I was reading through this and just some of the things they talk about. Like it says, a lot of people have no clue that agriculture contributes to about 33% of all the emissions of the world. Like since he became a damn scientist, says we
Yeah.
can't get to net zero. We don't get the job done unless agriculture is front and center as a part of the solution. So all of us understand that where the depths of the emission are. And so literally they're about to put more pressure on farmers.
I think they just want to starve half the world, because it's going to cost a lot more to feed yourself if they implement all these policies.
Right.
And his middle name is Forbes, John Forbes Kerry. And I think the Forbes family in the 1800s, they were like opium dealers, in China.
Yeah.
These people are all, and von der Leyen, her American ancestors, they were slave owners as well. Look it up. I mean, all these people in charge, they've been around for centuries telling us what to do and benefiting from loads of, dodgy dealings.
Yeah, so they keep it in the family, and that's where I talked about bloodlines, and there's certain bloodlines that are part of certain. It's just that stuff goes deep and dark, man. Yeah, it gets dark out there. What else we got? Basic Globe is managed by
the globe. You mean the planet?
Yeah. Man, I don't think they're ready for that.
No.
So it was a Patriot missile launcher costing $1 billion. Ukraine shooting off 30 missiles at $5 million each in 2 minutes cost 150 million. Man, that's the price tag. But then again, our government is talking about we running low on cash.
Well, yeah, no, it's all right. We only have a problem with the debt ceiling. It doesn't matter.
Right. Oh man, what else is I've told everyone to start growing their own food. Yep, yeah, as best you can. But even like right now in Michigan, it's a little chilly. And I read an article saying that certain parts of the country where it's supposed to be warmer for crop's sake, it's starting to freeze all of a sudden. Like the temperature.
Yeah, I agree with UK financial preparedness, but not everyone can grow their own food. I think the other alternative is, if you're stacking gold and silver, silver coins, small coins, constitutional junk silver, and if you live near the countryside, that should help you, because I'm sure farmers would rather have silver than a hyperinflating paper currency.
Yeah, very true. What else we got here? Basically, no, not many more questions. We'll be about 40 minutes or so. So let's looking ahead. What's on the radar coming up? That's of course we got the Fed meeting in middle of June. Beyond that, the debt ceiling June 6th, I think, is the time frame. But then again, it's 3 days worth of cash left or something like that. So I guess day by day, there's going to be some type of event. So we'll find out what happens. But anything that's on the front of your mind of things to pay attention to, or that you'll be paying attention to in particular?
Yeah, I guess the debt ceiling, I think that's the biggest one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're ratcheting up as well the conflict with Russia. I think they want to impose more sanctions on Russia. And I think I saw Zelensky's even trying to lure support from the global South. I don't think he's going to succeed.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely something going on, and I think they might use a geopolitical crisis to distract us from the financial troubles that we have.
Yeah, and speak. Let me, okay, I forgot one. The banking sector. It was yeah. So this article here, I want to touch on this one just because Fed's Bowman backs targeted bank rules reform, but not radical change. And so I read through this article, and they're going to put forth some, as they say here, some targeted, small, minute, nothing drastic changes to the banking regulations. And I'm thinking, like, I guess when that doesn't work, what will be the radical change that they're referring to? And my suspicion is that as the banking credit issue worsens, bank confidence will continue to dwindle. People will move more capital out into either bigger banks or money markets or whatever. And the radical part will come when they start either limiting the amount that you can move with time restrictions, which is going to cause more panic if people can't, above that 250, can't, move cash, which is going to create more attention on the banking sector to where I'm like, by fall, the way things are trending right now, we could see some limitations put on how much money you can move, even down to small fries, huh?
Yeah. The thing is, the whole banking system, the way the fractional reserve system, the fiat currency system works, there's no regulation that can really solve anything. The best thing that could happen is for the whole thing to just implode, and we go back to no central banks, no lender of last resort. And banks, the oldest bank in the UK is a private partnership. It's not a public bank. It's been in this family for over 300 years, and they're prudent, because if their bank goes under, they lose everything. So I think that's the only solution, really.
Yeah, but at this point, I think because the reset is underway, whether it's self-inflicted or strategically been done by different, competing parties, East, West, who knows? But I think it's more so about buying time, slowing things down. Like, the goal is they put capital restrictions on how much people can move.
Oh, they will, yeah.
Buy time, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Best they can.
I think even the IMF was saying that, or something to the effect that because now they're saying, oh, we didn't realize with online banking, people could move money around so quickly. They can just freeze your online account.
Yeah, so it can get real radical.
And they've already here in the UK shut so many branches, like you can't really go. So that's why you need some cash out of the bank. You need some, real money as well, stacked away.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. All right, we were over 40 minutes. Man, Mario, it's good to connect with you, man. Yeah. It's good to connect and have some good laughs, as well as stay in tune and get your perspective on things. Manico64, everybody know you know what I'm saying, but just in case somebody new coming across the channel, at Manico64, there you go. So yeah, be back at it next week, same time, same place. I'll be on the road, but then again, I'm gonna try to get back connect because I'm sure between now and then a lot of stuff will happen. Other than that, everybody be blessed, be safe, have a great weekend. If you got good weather, get out, enjoy it. Hug a family member, tell them you love them, and just enjoy the moment while it's still good, because we are very blessed still to be able to talk and have fun and educate each other. So appreciate you guys. Enjoy your day. Shalom.